I've reset the battlefield for Vimeiro, having played the battle through, and that battle featured a French victory, and that came about because of the strong French attack on the right flank, which decimated the British left flank, and Wellington was unable to reinforce that side during that assault, and the French won quite comprehensively. So I always like to replay a battle once or at least twice, if not a couple of times more, just to see how it could turn out in different ways. So that's the plan here. So let's see how the second Battle of Vimeiro goes. We are 4 turns into the battle, and the game is in the balance at the moment with relatively similar losses on both sides. Same tactics as last battle. The French have advanced on their right flank and have been pretty much repulsed by the British line, but they have taken casualties right across their front line, as have the French facing that couple of rounds of British volley fire from their muskets. Elsewhere on the field, all that's happened is that there's been an advance on the left flank, but their commander back down here has deemed it such that the right flank for the French holds the best opportunity for victory. I considered going in with the French left, but there are strong positions held by the British on the ridges in front of the town of Vimeiro, and the French are going to get bogged down in that river, so rapid movement will be difficult. So, at the risk of just wanting to play the same game again, I couldn't see any other option other than really striking out on the French right. That said, our current cards don't really allow too much more action on the left flank at the moment, so we may have to change strategy a bit. So the French attack on the right's been blunted, but it has cost the British some casualties. Okay, back shortly. Okay, we're halfway through turn 6, and this is the disposition of the forces on the battlefield. Essentially, both armies have gotten their armies in a pretty formidable position on ridges, or just in front of the ridges here, and on the other side the British are totally ensconced on the rivers, on the ridge virtually, and astride the river. So it's the French turn, but it's looking quite bleak looking at that line of British musketry up there. It's going to be a bloody assault to get through that, and so we're just debating whether we should be probing down that right flank again, which is in a little bit of disarray. So yep, that's the situation at the middle of the 6th turn. The casualties haven't changed much at all, and we've got two armies staring down at each other across the valley, and heck, what are the French going to do now? Could be a frontal assault. And as I said, this could be very bloody. It's the end of the 10th turn, and the French have advanced on a number of fronts and have been bloodily repulsed with very heavy casualties. The French took a very risky move. They launched their heavy cavalry from here with the leader to assault artillery on the hill, pushed it back, and did a follow-through attack with little damage, but because they didn't make that huge breakthrough they needed, they were basically eliminated on the fight back. On the left flank, the French moved forward off the hills in a steady line, but steady volleys from the British just drove them back and just wiped out some units. And on the British left, they've just consolidated that side. So the tide has turned in the favour of the British. The French have just not been able to get that breakthrough. 1, 2, 3, 4 victory points so far to the British and none to the French. It's going to be a tough one for the French to pull out of this one. So it's the French turn to make their move, and to be honest, I'm finding it very difficult to pick any strategy here at this point of the battle that's going to be a productive one for the French. Just looking over again towards the British lines, you can see they're pretty formidable, occupying the ridge there, and light cavalry between the hills and the gap in the hills there, holding that. And on the right, they've got some artillery there with 2 units of line infantry, 1 Portuguese that came up and have replaced those that were decimated. So a really formidable position for the French to attack. And looking back over towards their lines, they've got their line infantry ready to go, but a frontal assault through here across this valley is going to be pretty devastating with that British line on the hill. And on the far right, they've got their cavalry, but it's quite a way back, and some foot artillery. So their cards at the moment aren't that flash, allowing an attack on the right, and basically the other cards provide for attacks through the centre and a forced march. And really the centre is really strong on the British side. So yeah, just thought I'd throw those thoughts in. Not quite sure what the French are going to do. That's not going to be bloody and suicidal. See how we go. Okay, so I've come up with a tactic here that the French are going to try, and that is going to happen on the French right flank. And what we've got over here is some reduced line infantry with a full strength foot artillery and a full strength heavy cavalry unit with its general, with the light cavalry behind, facing artillery and foot and a couple of weak line infantry. So what this unit is going to do is going to play a scout right flank card, allowing 1 unit to take an action, and he's going to move 1, 2 to the base of the hill, so he's protected from the line infantry rifle fire and the cannon fire, and hopefully position himself for a charge over the hill into one of those units to see if we can get some routes going and the like. So that's provided I get a card next turn that's going to allow me to do that as well, because at the moment I don't have a card that will allow me to do it. But the beauty about the scout right flank card is that I can draw 2 cards and discard the other one, or discard one of them when I play this card. So let's give that a go. Okay, so the cavalry unit has moved into position, and the 2 cards I've drawn are an attack centre, which I do not need because I have 3 attack centres in my position, but I do have a cavalry charge, which allows me to order up to 4 or fewer cavalry or horse artillery units, and they battle with 2 additional dice the entire turn. So perfect card for this particular unit here that I've positioned. Not sure if it's going to be useful elsewhere yet. This light cavalry unit here will be able to do something with it as well, but it'll be a bit of a dangerous mission as well to go and attack across a line like that. But I think at this point of the battle I have to take some chances. So let's see how the British respond and if I can get that cavalry charge in. Okay, the British had their turn and they have advanced on the right flank and withdrawn this unit with 1 block left and a leader for protection, and I'm now going to make that cavalry charge. So I'm playing my cavalry charge card. I'm advancing the heavy cavalry over the hill to assault the British line infantry with its leader. I'm bringing up the light cavalry from the rear, and I am using my light cavalry to break through the gap to run down that retreating line unit with the leader. I'm looking to get extra victory points if I can take that one out as well, because I'm at the moment down 1, 2, 3, 4 to 0 in terms of victory points. So potentially if I can take out the unit and the leader and go on to hit another unit, I could potentially get 3 there, and I could potentially get 2 there as well. So we'll see how this pans out. And with the cavalry charge card, I'm battling with 1 extra die. So we're going to start with the heavy cavalry, French heavy cavalry with 4 blocks. They hit on, they roll 5 blocks in a melee, and we are looking for infantry and sabres. Here we go. Hitting the leader and the line infantry unit. Oh heck, rubbish. Okay, so we destroy this unit here, and that gives us a victory banner, which I'll put down now. And the leader takes a casualty check, rolling 1 die, and he gets a retreat. He is not going to be killed, but he now retreats 1, 2, 3, so he's going to go back 1, 2, and I'm going to take him off the board, I think, because that's a safe. No, he'll be over to here. 3. Actually, I think he's got to go off the board. He's coming off the board, but he's not counted as a victory point. Okay, so the cavalry now can advance after combat. They will advance into here, and the question is, do they attack this lone unit here, or have a crack at these units here as well? Now the one on the right is probably most likely going to be another victory point, but if I attack these units here, chances are I can do some damage and allow for these units here to move into the attack as well, but it does put this at some risk. So what do I do? Do I take that lone infantry line unit out, which would be the smart move in terms of getting my victory banners up, or do I have a crack at the foot artillery? I will be rolling 5. Let's see. Cavalry, yep, again. Oh, I'm supposed to be rolling 6 die because I've got 5 cavalry and 1 for the bonus, so I'm supposed to be rolling 6 die. Okay, didn't matter in that time. So what am I going to do? Okay, 6 die. I'm going to have a crack at the artillery, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm rolling 6 die. I hit, I believe, on artillery and sabres, and their line of retreat is cut off, so if I force them to retreat, they will be taking casualties as well. So here we go, 6 die. Try and do these dies. They're quite awkward, these big dies, but let's see if we can do it. Here we go. And what do we have? We have 1 artillery, 1 sabre, and 1 retreat. That's 2 hits. They're required to retreat, and they can't retreat because then they take a loss, so that unit is gone. So good choice there. The foot artillery is destroyed, and another victory banner appears on the French side. So the heavy cavalry have really done well on the French right flank. Maybe they've saved the day. Okay, so the remaining combat is the light cavalry chasing down this retreating leader with his line unit, and light cavalry, French light cavalry in melee with 4, hit on 4. So I roll 4 die, and there's an extra die because of the cavalry charge card. So we are rolling 5 die. So again, another chance to strike at the enemy. 5 die, here we go. Oh, what a rubbish roll. Okay, no hits whatsoever. Okay, how disappointing was that for the French? From glorious victory on the right flank to a failed charge on the left flank, and now an exposed cavalry unit. Okay, so that's the French turn, and we'll come back later, let you know how it fares. Okay, the battle continues, and we can see there have been developments. The French are getting outflanked on their left with this heavy cavalry unit, which is potential to roll them up from the side there. The centre is still facing off, but on the left hand side the British have pushed forward. They've eliminated that cavalry unit, that light cavalry unit that made that thrust. It was shot up by the light infantry on the hill, and the line infantry as it was forced to retreat and eliminated, and their full intact line unit on the far right of the British line is advancing to take the forest or the hill. So she's a very close run game, and it's 4-4 with the French to go next. what will happen now. What a riveting game. And here we are at the end of the battle, and it was won on the left flank of the French side by the French when units led by one of their generals charged off with a bayonet charge and destroyed an enemy unit fording the river to take their victory tally to 6, just as the French were on 5. The French were very lucky. They had drawn 2 bayonet charges in a row, which proved very decisive to break the deadlock. But all in all, a very, very even battle, which could have swung either way towards the end. Thoroughly enjoyable. And yeah, that took quite some time to play, so I've only given you a few snapshots throughout the game. But yeah, it's a very abstract system, isn't it? Command and Colours Napoleonics. But you know, there is a deal of tactics in there, and you do get a feel for Napoleonic warfare, albeit in an abstract way. Nothing like Napoleon's triumph, for example. But I must say, I'm really enjoying the system. I haven't played this game that much, and great game to break out now and then when you've been playing some heavier games like US Civil War, Empire of the Sun and so forth, to give one a little bit of a light Napoleonic feel. But this took me a few hours to play solo, and so that's been two fights of the Battle of Vimeiro. What is it now? Whatever it is, you know what it is. And 2 wins to the French in some vicious fighting here on the peninsula. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I think I'll be moving on to some Conflict of Heroes, Awakening the Russian Bear, and solo gaming with that magnificent solo gaming system that Academy Games have come up with next. Catch you then. Have a great couple of days till I see you next.